can always have a good attitude about it or have a bad attitude about it. So I always choose to have a good attitude about it, you know?
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. So, anyways, all right. People in the chat, if you've got questions as we're going along, for anybody who's here for the live stream, people who are listening to the podcast, you can catch this on Twitch, or later on YouTube or anywhere you stream podcasts. If you got questions though and you're in the live stream, drop them. We will try to get to all of them. So we're here with Dave the Fave. Dave is 1/3 of the Boise rap group, Dedicated Servers, from here in Boise, Idaho, which is where me and Luke are from. Super cool. I have a pretty funny story about actually seeing Dedicated Servers for the first time. I'll hold off on that for a little bit. But Dave, I want to know why Dave the Fave? Was it just because it rhymed, or like you just people started calling you that, or where did that come from?
He's the favorite of the three, I think.
I'm the favorite Dave out of the entire world, out of all the Daves.
Okay.
No, I don't know, man. Like I just came up with it, like just kind of on a whim. I didn't want to give it too much thought, you know, and so I was just like, well, this rhymes and it sounds like some childish thing, so I'm gonna go with it. The thing you have to understand about me, for a lot of people who like might not be familiar with me, is I do a lot of things to pop myself, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I do, it's to make myself laugh, and if it's funny to me, then I'll roll with it.
Yeah, no, I respect that, man. I totally get that. All right, so you're a third, like I mentioned, you're a third of Dedicated Servers. I have seen you with the other rapper. I believe his name is Matt Dixon. Do I have that right?
That's correct. Yeah,
okay.
MCMD. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And then I've never, I apologize, but who is the third of the Dedicated Servers?
No, it's all good, man. The third, he's actually kind of new still, I guess. He goes by the name Spin Master Mugen, and he is he's a DJ and he makes beats. He's still fairly new. We adopted him into the group like maybe 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
But it feels like a year ago because, like, you know, we don't count the COVID year.
The lost year.
Yeah, the lost year. So it feels like a year, but it's really been like 2. But yeah, man, you know, we Spin Master Mugen, he's such a talented young guy, you know. He's a little shy, so you might not see him like a lot. And he, like, even before we had to wear masks, he wore a mask, you know, like a mouth mask.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of a elusive cat, but boy, he's really talented when it comes to beats. And like, you know, we've let me see here. I don't even know how many years it's been since we've been making music. It must be like, wait a minute, freshman 15. So it's been 16 years.
Wow.
And so we've worked with so many different producers and DJs and other musicians. But like Mugen, you know, when we work with him, like it just, you know, when you work with somebody, like it feels good. It just feels right, you know? Mm-hmm. So like he gets us, like when he's making us beats, like he understands what we're looking for and stuff like that. And then like on the flip side, we understand what kind of beats like he likes to make and ideas and stuff. And, you know, we just kind of all bounce it all off of each other. So.
Okay. And so
let's unpack that actually. I don't want to, I mean, maybe this is a comeback to topic, but that whole artist and producer dynamic and how you guys figured out that you mesh, we can come back to that, but I want to dive into that a little bit further.
Yeah, totally. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So I guess then, how did you guys get to meet Spin Master Moog and kind of know, you know, because I think there's a couple pieces. There's stylistically, but then also just working with someone as a person. Like, do we get to get along well together? How did that kind of come about? And when did you guys start to realize, you know, maybe we want to add this guy like officially to the group?
Yeah. So he, like he's a younger guy, you know, like for me and for Matt, we're both 35. And so Spin Master Mugen is, I think he's 10 or maybe, how old am I again? 35. So yeah, he's probably like 10 or 11 years younger than us. And so, you know, like we would just do shows and like, I think he just introduced himself to us one time and we're like, And, you know, he told us that he made beats and stuff. And we're like, oh, cool. You know, that's awesome. And, you know, he like gave us his website or whatever at the time. And we checked it out. And it was really cool stuff. But he always like admired us. You know what I mean? But like for some reason, like, well, I guess it goes back to the fact that he's kind of a shy guy. Right. And so he was always shy to ask us to like work with him and stuff like that. Anyway, eventually he mustered up the courage to ask us to work with him. And we're like, yeah, of course, you know, like we love collaborating with people and stuff like that. And if the style's right, like let us listen to your stuff first. And if we're digging it, then, you know, we'll do it. But if we're not, then I'll just, you know, say my dog ate my homework or something. But like, you know, it was great. Like the stuff that he makes, it's very reminiscent of like Nujabes and like that. What do these kids call it these days? Like lo-fi. They call it lo-fi.
That's cool.
So it's very much that style. But also, what really gravitated me towards him is he can make like house beats, and I don't mean like I'm talking about like old style house. You know, like 90s, like you know, the house music today sounds kind of. It doesn't sound like house of the old days.
Okay.
And so
it's veered
like,
more into like the EDM a little bit.
Yeah. Which I mean, like nothing against that, you know, but like it's weird because like sometimes when people are like, yo, you like house music? And then they show me and I'm like, oh, that's not exactly it. But yeah, so he has, you know, he just has a different style about it. And like if you've ever seen me perform, like we're pretty high energy and like I really like to dance. And so like these beats that Mugen makes, you know, it's not just a typical like hip hop beat. You know what I mean? It's not like a typical, all right, here's the 8-bar intro, and then here's the 16, and here's the 8-bar chorus, and another 16, and then the outro or something. You know, like I've been writing hip hop music for such a long time that formula is boring to me. Like I could do it, you know what I mean? I could do it, but like it's just like it doesn't like challenge me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So then when he gives me this more dance centric beat, like I'm like, wow, how am I going to handle this? And but I love it because it also makes me really want to dance, and I love dancing on stage. And so I'm just at that point in my creative career where like I don't want to say I'm sick of rap music, but like, you know, I just want to do stuff that challenges me more. Like songwriting, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So do you work with him closely at all in the production as far as, you know, I'm looking for something really upbeat, a little bit like in a certain style or something, or does he pretty much just send you beats and then you go through them and see which ones you like?
Yeah, he'll typically like think up ideas on his own and send them our way. And a lot of times he kills it. You know what I mean? We don't even have to.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome. But like another thing that I really like is that we'll find samples or something in video game music or whatever, and we'll send it his way. And like I'll give him an idea of what I'd like to be done with it, but like I don't know, he just like knows it. You know, he just knows me. He knows Matt, and he'll flip it, and it's like something super tight. You know, so we'll send him ideas and things like that. But as far as creation, it's all him. You know, sampling. You'll have to get him as a guest to ask him, you know, how he samples and all that stuff. But
yeah,
that's cool.
But yeah, it's good stuff. It also helps too that all three of us were, you know, beyond just music, we're all interested in the same things. You know, we're all obviously, interested in video games. We're all big fans of wrestling, you know, and so when we all get together, like it's not always music, you know, sometimes we'll just get together and just watch WrestleMania or something, you know, and so you know, again, like I said, man, it just like feels right, you know?
Yeah. That's an important thing that a few people have talked about, that, you know, if you're a producer and like some of these guys were getting together with these artists and they're just stopped by the house like to play Madden. So like you guys talking about like even just sitting down and watching WrestleMania, like that makes a lot of sense that you guys would be like, okay, this is a good fit. So, because you and Matt, you guys don't produce at all then?
No, so I used to, like when we first started, which was, oh God, let me see here. 2004, bro. 2004, okay. Man, in high school.
17 years old.
Yeah, I'm super into beats. And so, like, as far as like people I look up to, you know, beat wise, obviously J Dilla, Madlib, the Neptunes, Nujabes. so many more, you know, I mean, that's just a few. But I used to make the beats. I think we downloaded like, you know, illegal Fruity Loops
Mhm.
and like totally legal now though.
Yeah.
If the cops are watching. But yeah, I downloaded that and I just made beats off of that. And I never had any formal like musical training, but I bought books and I kind of like try to teach myself like sheet music and all that stuff, you know, rather than like just let me just make a beat, you know, like I wanted to really like learn music proper. And so yeah, I used to make them. And then my old roommate Owen, he used to help us out a lot. He was really good at the piano. And so we would make tracks together for dedicated servers. And we did that for a while. And then, you know, we started doing shows and stuff. And I think that people started seeing us like the energy that we would bring. And so then like people just wanted to work with us. And so it got to a point where we would get a bunch of people just, hey, here's a beat. You want to rap over this? And it was like, yeah, sure. You know, and like when you're starting out, like it's just like, oh, this is tight, man. I can't believe people want me to rap over their beats. And then like we would meet certain producers, you know, who we really clicked with. We worked with a guy named Logic, who moved to California. We did a lot of songs with him, did albums as well. Another guy named Pat Benokin, who was fantastic. I don't know what happened to that guy. He dropped off the face of the earth. We've got a bunch of unreleased songs with that guy, but we feel kind of bad like releasing it without his permission. But we're probably gonna do it soon anyway, because I don't know what happened to him. And then like another guy, oh God, Wojtek. Wojtek is another hip hop producer, super talented. He's the same as Pat Benokin. Like he makes us a ton of beats and they're tight. And then we're like, yo, let's follow it up. And then he is gone. I don't hear from him for like a month. But he's super talented. He contacted me recently, so we're going to try to work on some more stuff. Do you guys ever run into hip hop producers like this? These are like all hip hop producers, you know?
We run into artists like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
hey,
both.
I recorded, you know, like, hey, oh yeah, we recorded that song last week. Oh, sorry, my computer broke. You know, it ran out of space. It blew up. Or they just don't respond. Like we work with so many producers and musicians like that. Like it's like, man, yeah. I hate hip hop producers, you know?
No, for real. Like people in music, maybe it's just artists in general, artist types or whatever. But I mean, they definitely tend towards the flaky side.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what draws them into the, you know, working for yourself to begin with. But like,
yeah, right. I think they tend towards kind of just the loner side, or not necessarily super outgoing and wanting to communicate with people. Because I feel that too. Like if I get off Instagram for a while, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just don't feel like getting back on. It almost has to be like, I think about it like work to me. I need to respond to these people and stuff like that. Obviously, it's relationships, but I don't think I would just get on and message a bunch of people necessarily who I don't really know that well. Like it's against my nature. I tend to be like by myself. I'm okay doing my thing without really involving other people a lot of times. I think that's kind of how a lot of producers feel, maybe. But
yeah, no, you're probably right. Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like that too after all of this, you know, these things that we've experienced is just like, I just like to keep it within the unit just because then it's one less person's like schedule or whatever that we have to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even working with Matt sometimes, you know, like there was a point in time where like not to like talk smack on him, but
no,
like,
do it.
Point in time,
let him know.
There's a point in time where I just was like I you know, like I hit this creative high and I was like, oh my God, I have so many songs I need to write and work on. Oh, I remember I think I did an album all on my own about like, I went through like a breakup that like really affected me, you know? And so then I had all these ideas and like, you know, I was sad and all this stuff about it. And I was like, my way of getting out my sadness and my anger and whatever was just through music. And so, but then it's like, you know, like that's something I was going through. It wasn't something Matt was going through. And so I was like, hey, bro, I don't want to like force you to write these songs because they're not necessarily things you're feeling. So like, do you care if I like release a solo thing? you know, and he was like, yeah, man, go for it, you know. And so, and then we started, he did a solo project of his own as well. But yeah, man, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably one of the ways that I decided I was going to differentiate myself, because I think I realized within the first like you know, few months of starting to produce, I'm like, as long as I'm the person that literally is like always gonna respond to my email or DM or whatever like within a day, like I'm already gonna be a step ahead of all these people, and like it hasn't let me down yet, like being so quick to respond. I mean, nah, see,
huge.
yeah, it doesn't really bother me either. Like some people don't like being near their stuff all the time. It doesn't really bother me that much, but yeah, it seemed to have worked out. So there's this question here in the chat. Why'd you be 69? He wants to know what's the best way, because you were talking about like working with artists and stuff that and maybe it's just not a good fit, and you said there was a point where people were coming and wanting to work with you, but he said what's the best way to politely turn down collabing with a fellow artist without burning a bridge, especially I think if it's maybe, you know, it's not, the vibe doesn't mesh, like they're trying to do something completely different than what you're going for. What do you typically do in that situation?
Sure. Usually I delete them from my phone. No, I'm just kidding.
Just block them.
Yeah, never talk to them again. Usually, you know, to be honest with you, I've had many moments where, well, usually my response is like, "Hey, man, you know, like thanks for wanting to work with me, but I like creatively, I'm just in a different space right now, you know, and so you know, I'm just gonna politely decline this collaboration or something like that, you know. But I wish you the best, you know, like knock it out the ballpark.
Yeah. Keep
and
it
it's
short
hard,
and sweet.
like, and it's hard. Like I totally get it. Like, because when I was in my younger years, like I didn't know. Like I hated like, oh my God, what if I hurt their feelings? What if they know somebody who knows me and like they're like, yo, that guy was an asshole or something, you know, like.
Yeah.
But now this is what's tight about being 30 is like you stop caring about those kinds of things. And so, you know, if somebody wants to work with me and I'm just not feeling it, I'll just tell them. I'll just be like, hey, I'm not gonna say like, yo, I'm not feeling it. Like that's whack. You know, there's a nice way to say it, and I'll just say, hey, man, you know, I'm just kind of in a different creative space, and so you know, I don't think it's gonna work out. Or like I'll just tell them I'm working on other projects, and you know, my time is just kind of full right now. Which usually it is, you know what I mean? Like I usually am working on other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I honestly, I do love collaborating with people, you know, because it does get, I've worked with Matt for such a long time and I'm so thankful because he's a homie, you know what I mean? Like I consider him like my best friend, and like,
yeah,
we know each other, you know, like front to back, all that stuff. But like, it is always definitely fun to work with new people as well, you know, just to see how and I always learn, you know, that's the cool thing about working with other people is you learn from them, you know, you see how they work. And I'm always the type of person to pick something up from each, you know, borrow something from each person that I work with, you know, and it doesn't even have to be a musician, you know, it could just be like a coworker, you know, I work with somebody new and I look at how they do things at work and let me borrow that, you know, let me borrow that trait. If it looks good to me, you know?
Yeah. So Going Bananas in the chat asked, is that what inspired the Living in Photos song?
Let me see. Did that?
Or do you remember after 10 years or whatever?
Dude, that's the truth. That's the truth, dude. It's hard to remember all these songs. What's up, Going Bananas, by the way? Is that what inspired the Living in Photos? I believe that song came out before I wrote the entire album. And I think Living in Photos actually that was the one that got the ball rolling on my emo album that I'm talking about, where I'm just rapping about heartbreak. But yeah, I think that kind of started it. Like I wrote that song, and that song Living in Photos is one of my favorite because I say, I don't know. I just say stuff that's not characteristic of me. You know, it's kind of like I don't want to say it's like it's depressing for me. Like,
yeah,
I say stuff in there that is just like I would never say that. You know what I mean? And it's not like it's not like I'm not on there like slandering my ex-girlfriend's name or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it's just like the way you feel after a heartbreak, right? And things like that. And so, and I had another song that was kind of on the darker side on that solo album I'm talking about. And Matt told me, he was like, yo, that's my favorite song. And I'm like, how's that your favorite song, man? That's like such a depressing song. And he's like, I know it is, but like, you could feel it. You know what I mean? Like you could feel it in your voice and in your lyrics and all that stuff. And so I think it's like one of your best songs, solo songs. And I was like, wow, man, thanks.
Yeah. So take us back then, 17 years. So you've always been in Boise, Idaho then? I take it. Yeah. Okay. And then, so how did Dedicated Servers even start? Like what made you guys want to start rapping? And was it always kind of in like the vein it's in now, or did you guys have to take some time to kind of figure out like what your vibe was going to be?
Yeah, it definitely took a lot of time, man. Let me see here. So like we went to high school together and we didn't know each other at the time, but so this is how the story begins, right? Is it was biology class, and
it always is.
It always is, yeah. The class was full, so he's sitting up front, right? And me, you know, like the cool kid that I was in high school, I showed up late, and there were no seats available, and so I just took the closest open seat, which was next to him. And I think he had like a Star Wars folder or something like that. I don't know, but I saw it and I was like, oh damn, dude, you're into Star Wars? I love Star Wars, you know. And he kind of scoffed at me, you know, like a what do you call that? A hipster, you know? He was like a original hipster. He scoffed at me. He was like, you're not a Star Wars fan, you know? What do you know about Star Wars? Can you believe that? He said that.
Wow. Gatekeeping?
He's gatekeeping me. And then I was like, no, man, I love Star Wars. I really do. And then he was like, okay, so tell me what planet Luke Skywalker's from then.
Oh,
and I said, come on, man, everybody knows that, dude. Tatooine.
Yeah.
And then he was quiet. Like he was like, all right.
That's the question that got him? That's so basic.
Isn't it? You got to remember, we were stupid kids, though.
Oh, okay.
So from then on, like we just kind of, we clicked through Star Wars, you know? So then I would see him in class and I talked to him and we just kind of, got friendlier with each day. And then, we'd start going out to eat lunch, get some Burger King or whatever together. And while we're riding in my car, man, I missed that car. It was a Honda hatchback Civic. Oh man, that was a cool car. But we'd roll around and I would be bumping hip hop. Like I listened to a lot of like East Coast hip hop. So like De La Soul, like Wu-Tang Clan and stuff like that. And so he would just be in there kind of soaking it in, and then he would just start asking me about it, like because he heard of hip hop too, but he wasn't really a fan. The hip hop he was familiar with was like Eminem and kind of more mainstream rap. And he just wasn't feeling it, like, the image, right? Gangsters and hoes and cars and stuff. So he wasn't feeling it. But like he heard the hip hop I was listening to, and it was a lot more, as they would say, conscious, right? Common, The Roots, stuff like that. And he was just like, wow, man, what is all this hip hop you're listening to? This is unlike any hip hop I've ever heard. I was like, yeah, man, this is the real stuff, dude. This ain't that radio garbage. And so then I kind of turned him on to like this entirely new world of hip hop, you know what I mean? That was more relatable, you know what I mean? Like some of these rappers, they were talking about video games that were things that we were into, And then he was like, dude, this is cool, man. So then he just started getting into hip hop and he just started listening to it more and more. And I think one day he was just like, yo, man, what if we started a rap group? And I was like, I don't know, man, whatever. And so like he was playing that game Half-Life one day. And I think the loading screen at the time, it said something Dedicated Servers. And he hit me up and he was like, yo, dude, let's make a rap group called Dedicated Servers. And I was like, what does that even mean? And he's like, I don't know, man. It was a loading screen on Half-Life. And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Because I was down, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do it,
Yeah.
That's another thing too I really like about Matt. We're both very unafraid to do things. You know, it's like, so whatever, man, let's rap. And so initially it started out as him rapping with our other friend Kyle, and then I made the beats, really terrible beats on Fruity Loops. But yeah, that's kind of how it all came about, man. It was just through getting to know each other in high school, and then driving around in my car and kind of introducing him to this new world and new style of hip hop. And for me, like, I grew up on hip hop music. The first record I ever heard was it's by Malcolm McLaren, and it's called "World's Famous." It's like my it's like an artifact for me. It means so much to me because, like, it's not just a rap song. Like, it starts out with a melody, there's piano, you got a break beat, you could break dance to it. A guy comes in and raps later. Like, it's this insane blend. Like, when I think about my musical taste now, I can really attribute it back to that original song that I first heard as a kid. And I was like, what is this I'm hearing? This is incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's so amazing. But yeah, like, I grew up, with an admiration for beats. Whenever I listen to any song, really, I would just pay attention to the beat. I wouldn't even listen to the lyrics. I'm just like, is this beat tight? But yeah, I was very beat driven, and Matt was lyric driven, and so it kind of meshed together. And then eventually, like, our friend Kyle, he didn't take the music as seriously as we did, and so then I jumped in and I started rapping with Matt, and as well as making beats, and then yeah, that's how it went for a while.
Yeah. So, do you have any like, what kind of made you get out of doing the beats, and then do you have any, like, desire to get back into it, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I love beats. I think, I don't know, man. Like, I hate to say, like, time as an excuse, but, like, I noticed that once we started getting offered beats by other people, like, it was just easier, like, it was just like, okay, now I can really focus on my pen game, and then it just kind of was like that for a while until one day I was like, wow, dude, I haven't made a beat in forever, but I do enjoy, like, creating beats. It's definitely been a minute, and I would love to get back into it, but it's like we got Spin Master Mugen right now, and, like, he's just so good at what he does, and yeah, man, it's tricky. Like, I'm sure I'll make another beat one day, but yeah, for now, man, we got Mugen, dude. He's the secret weapon, and beats, for me, beats kind of took a while to make too, because like I said, I wasn't classically trained in music, and so I taught myself. I bought books on sheet music and reading music and stuff like that, and so when I say I made beats, I mean, like, I really, like, composed it, like, I came up with the notes, I came up with the drums, I programmed them and all that stuff. As opposed to, like, sampling, you know what I mean? And sampling is, don't get me wrong, like, sampling is very much composing music, but it's just a different way, like, when it comes to sampling, like, I don't know how to sample. I have an idea, but, like, I'm not good at it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And Mugen is sample based, and so
okay,
it's cool, man. Like, it's just cool how it's like just those two. And those are just two styles. You know what I mean? There's, like, so many more different ways of composing music. It's so tight.
Yeah, they're almost like two different. I don't know, almost like two different art forms, almost. Cause, like, yeah, I don't think me and Luke, neither of us are classically trained. I don't think. I mean, like, I know how to play piano and, like, read sheet music, but I found that hasn't really translated all that much into making beats. And then, Luke, you make all your own melodies and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I'm similar. Like, I grew up playing piano and stuff, but I never did any real, like, songwriting. I think there's, like, a certain amount of just understanding the way things work, even if it's just, like, scales and intervals that I'm not really aware that I know, but when I'm actually making something, I think it is kind of put into practice, maybe subconsciously or something.
That might
like
be
that.
true. Yeah, maybe when I'm playing a note, I'm like, oh, maybe that does go there. I don't know why, but
Right.
it's in there.
Yeah.
But no, so you and Matt, you said that, like, these artists that you were listening to, they were rapping about video games and stuff, and I'm sure it was kind of more of, like, I don't know how much it was. I haven't heard all of these artists that you're talking about, but I'm assuming it was more mentions as opposed to like whole songs about video games or whatever. But so how did you and Matt kind of take that jump into being like, okay, we're going to rap quite a bit about like, stuff that we like. Like, I mean, you guys have a whole song about like Street Fighter and like, so it's like, cause like the nerdcore rap or whatever, like wasn't even that big of a thing probably back then. Like now you have people who like, that's their entire thing they rap about is strictly nerdy stuff. So how did you guys decide to do that even like all the way back then?
Yeah, so it was just what we knew, and so we started out with a song called. I mean, it took like a few songs to get to this song, but it's called Hall of Famers, and it's about video games. It's just about our love for video games and stuff like that. At the time, like it got a ton of attention on this old game site called Screw Attack. I don't think it's around anymore, but I think Matt sent the song into their to their site or whatever, and they liked it and they posted it, and like literally overnight we got like 10,000 views on it. Like it was like our piece of internet fame. It was crazy. But we wrote that, and like Matt, once he started, so he listened to like the hip hop I listened to, and then he eventually found his own style, and he started finding these nerdcore guys, right? Namely MC Chris. He was like, yo, check out this guy, MC Chris, man. I really love this guy. And I was like, dude, I'm not feeling this guy, man. This guy's voice is annoying, dude. But like Matt loved him, and that's cool, whatever. Like, I wasn't a fan of I appreciated the fight, but the voice, bro. But he really enjoyed that. And so, he would borrow elements from that. And we were coined that. We were coined nerdcore rappers. And at the time I was like, oh man, I really don't want to be boxed in, categorized as a nerdcore rapper. And so we would like, I don't want to say force, I don't think that's the right word, but we would willingly try to write songs that were not so nerdy per se.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, even when we did that, I still would just somehow sneak in some kind of reference to a comic book or something like that. I couldn't help it. It was in my blood, dude.
Yeah.
And so we just rolled with it, like that's okay. This is our style kind of, but what we decided was let's go for a different style of beats. If we could disguise our nerdiness behind like a hard ass beat or something like that, maybe it won't come across as so nerdy, that was my concern at the time. I didn't want to be this nerdy rapper. And lo and behold, this nerdcore is one of the biggest genres out there right now. And I'm kicking myself. I'm like, damn, dude, I should have just did it. We should have just went full on nerdcore.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
into it.
Yeah, it's the full thing of like, just because of the internet, there's just niches now. And like, Christian rap, I mean, that's a massive market. Nerdcore, massive market. Like, just because there's got to be something for everything now. But that's pretty interesting that you kind of like were trying to avoid it for a bit, but then it kept pulling you in. Yeah,
it did, because like, as I already mentioned, like for me, I couldn't get away from the references. Yeah. And then it was the same thing for Matt, but also, I'm sure you've heard Matt's voice. He's not a tough sounding guy or anything like that, And so, we just couldn't get away from it. Like people would just continue to coin us that. And like nowadays, like I happily accept it. You want, whatever, man. You want to call me a nerdcore rapper? That works for me,
I mean, even something as simple as like you both wear glasses, like that could make people just be like, oh, nerdcore. Like
yeah, seriously, man. Yeah, man, it's funny, we've done shows where like, we're gonna perform, and like the other performers who like we didn't meet or know or whatever, they would go up to Matt and be like, hey, what's up, man? So you're the sound guy, right? And I would always laugh. I'd be like, hey, sound man.
That's like someone else said that happened to them all the time. Wasn't that Lil Dicky that said that would happen all the time? They'd think he was like the manager or like the like the sound guy. That's funny. Bananas wants to know, I don't know who this person is, I apologize, but they said, when and how did you meet TDouble Turbo?
Turbo TDouble. Ah, yes. An old friend of mine. So for those who don't know, Turbo TDouble, he used to go by just Turbo, but this guy has been doing music for probably longer than me. But you could probably consider him a nerdcore rapper too. Uh, when you look at him and when you listen to him, though, you wouldn't guess it. You know, the way he raps, I mean, he's changed up his style a little bit, but when I first heard him, I legit thought he was Lupe Fiasco. The way that he rapped and also the way he sounded, I thought he was Lupe Fiasco. But there was an internet song called Gigaton Punch, and it was a song about Balrog. And so Turbo, he pretended he was Balrog, and he was like it was funny, but it was also kind of tight. And so I just followed this guy on the internet. I didn't know him personally, you know, like he was just somebody I really admired. Like I was like, wow, look at this guy, man. He does hip hop music like us. He really loves Street Fighter like me and video games and stuff like that. But this guy is like so talented, you know, like he's an actually a talented rapper, you know, like I could send you down a rabbit hole, man. This guy's got so many, the way that he plays with metaphors and all that stuff, like it's crazy. But one year, so I just admired from afar, you know, I'd message him, hey man, good work, whatever. But I think we became friends like one year to celebrate mine and Matt's birthday. My birthday is the day before Matt's, so we always celebrate together. And so we hit him up. We're like, yo, Turbo, you know, what if we fly you out here, run a show? It'd be a birthday show for me and Matt, but you would be the headliner, and then we'll charge at the door. We'll give you some money for it, you know. And he was like, yeah, man, that sounds good. So we flew him out here, and he hung out with us. You know, he spent the night at my place, and we got to know him. And you know, ever since then, we've been friends. And I still see him every once in a while. He lives in LA, and like I think he does like wardrobing for like shows, like different TV shows and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, but he still makes music and stuff like that. So everyone, you know, we don't talk like every day or anything like that, but definitely hit him up once in a while to talk about stocks. He's really into stocks like me, and like, you know, if I happen to be in like the LA area or whatever, you know, I'll hit him up and see if he's free and we'll kick it. Been a few years though, but yeah, he's cool.
Nice. That's awesome. That's funny you mentioned Lupe Fiasco. This segues perfectly into how I actually first ran across you guys. I can't believe how well this worked. So I actually saw you guys for the first time when you opened for Lupe Fiasco at the Taco Bell Arena at BSU. I think I was probably 15, 16, I think, when you guys first performed. I think you had like a robot up on stage or something that was like R2D2 like looking thing, and like it was a part of the show, and like I can't remember what you guys called it. I wish I could. Maybe you remember, but and you guys would like talk to it, and it would like respond with like beeps and stuff, and like it was it was really funny. But what was it called?
I think we call it COM1, COMM-1.
Okay.
I can't remember what it stood for though. It was like creator of magical music or something. I can't remember. But yeah, we used to carry that stupid cardboard robot with us everywhere. And we would so like from behind, there was a hole behind it, and that's where we set the laptop. Because I hated, like, I'm all about aesthetic when it comes to performances. And so like I don't like I hate to show up with a laptop and like, hey, look, guys, I'm just playing my beats off of my computer. You know, like I gotta have a DJ, or I gotta hide it or something. Like I don't want you seeing, you know, look at me, man, this is ghetto, dude. I'm just playing this off a laptop. You know, I couldn't even take that as a young guy. Like I was like, I know I'm ghetto, but I don't want you to know it. I want to hide it. So I put it behind that cardboard computer, and we pretended like it was our DJ. And yeah, and like, yeah, we would make it talk to us and stuff like that. It was so stupid, but I think we tried one. Yeah, we put like lights in his eyes and stuff like that. Oh,
no, yeah, it lit up and like and everything. Yeah. I was gonna say, you guys mentioned that too in an interview that I found online. I think it was through Chop Culture that you guys did, and you were saying that you've also opened up for like Sapien, I think you said his name was, out of Portland.
Yeah.
And like just throughout the years that I've been aware of like the hip hop scene here, like you guys are consistently just there. Like I always was seeing you guys, like I knew who you were even when I wasn't like trying that hard to know who local groups were. Um like I would love to know what is your guys' kind of like method to try and get on these bills, cuz like you guys are seem to be really good at getting on these bills and opening for these artists. Like what's your tactic? What do you do?
Man, I'm I'm so thankful, like, to, like, when I say this, right, like, I just want you guys to understand how thankful I am for it. But like, a lot of times people would just come to us, because we were always just so focused on what's our next thing, right? What's the next song we're gonna make? What's the next album? How can we make our performances better? Things like that. And so we were just focused on, that's basically it, man. We were just so focused on our craft, and like, I don't know, man, like the cosmos just had it nice for us, man. Like, we would just be scouted out by people. Hey man, you guys want to jump on the show with us? And it's like, sure, yeah, I guess. I think I don't know what it is, maybe it's the energy. Cause like, I feel like that's one thing that we have, like, I'm not trying to talk smack, but like just kind of above other hip hop acts, like just our energy is one of a kind. We banter with each other, I dance, there's definitely, like, I make sure that there's a show element to it, as opposed to just two guys on stage walking back and forth, rapping, looking at the floor. Like, I make sure that this is a show. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if maybe that was it or what, but yeah, I don't know. It's just word of mouth, dude. People just like hear about us, and we're kind of like the go-tos for a little while there. Like, anytime a hip hop person would come through, like, people would just call the dedicated servers, and like, we're so thankful for that. Like weird ones too, like Bone Thugs. Like, yo, you guys want to open for Bone Thugs? And it's like, have you heard our music? Like, no offense to Bone Thugs, because I'm a fan, but like, what about that? What's the audience gonna think?
Did you ever encounter that? Were you guys ever? Because I remember a show recently that happened. And this probably wasn't like just because of the content of the rapper or whatever. I think it was just because people were more tired. But like before the Playboy Cardi show that I was at, one of the rappers did end up getting booed off the stage. Because they were just over it. They're like, we're done with the local guys. Like, we're done with maybe specifically this style. Like, we want Cardi. Did you ever experience any of that? Because you're talking about how sometimes you were thrown into these like weird mixes of like, and was the audience ever like, what is going on here? Like, and they just didn't get it?
Absolutely. When we first started, okay, so like, we did house shows when we first started, right? Because we couldn't get into bars or whatever. So we did this one house show at inside of our friend's garage, and it was a big garage and it was packed, right? And my friend, he was like a big fan of ours. He's like, dude, I love what you guys are doing. I think it's tight. You want to perform in my garage? I was like, yeah, sure. So we performed, and like the people there, nobody was feeling it. We got on the mic, started our few first lines. I can't remember what song it was, but everybody in the garage turned their backs on us, and we're just like talking to each other.
Oh.
And I was young.
Yeah.
We were young. So this happened to us, and my friend Matt, like the next day, like he was crushed. Like he was like, dude, that's the end of our career, man. We can't do this, dude. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, it was only one show, like I feel like we should try again, maybe it was just the wrong crowd or something like that, And so I always think of that situation, like, if we survive that, like literally everybody in the building was just like, nope, this is trash. And I was like, like I learned that at an early age, and so like I feel like that really hardened my shell, like, yeah. I could take a lot now. It takes a lot now to really hurt my feelings, Another thing too is, you talk about different crowds, different energies. Some of my most favorite shows are punk shows, because I feel like the spirit the spirit of punk and the spirit of hip hop is one and the same, you know. And so we would perform at these punk shows, and it was like, oh God, dude, come on, man, they're not gonna like this. But
Yeah.
like, punk crowds were always so cool with us, always. And like, yeah, I love the punk people, you know. And like, I go to punk shows, you know. I mean, it's been a while since I have, but I love punk shows. And yeah, the energy, you know, like the punk energy is like, I love that.
Yeah. So I know it wasn't you that said this in the interview, it was Matt, but he said that, because I think the question was like advice to be noticed by other artists or something to that effect. And Matt said that the best way to get rappers to know you and to promote your stuff is to promote their stuff too. Like, I think his quote was like, you know, rappers are super egotistical, and if you're pushing their shit, they'll push yours. Like that was his, like, you know, whole mantra or whatever. Is that kind of what you guys follow? Do you still follow that? Like, is that kind of how you get that networking between artists? Like, you just kind of have to push each other's stuff, and it's just kind of a mutual thing, or what have you found?
Yeah, I would say so, man. It's a thin line to tread, though. You know, I remember, I'm not on Facebook anymore because that place is trash. But like, when I was on Facebook, you know, I would manage our music page, and you know, when you're going through the feeds, I would just see, you know, other artists in town or whatever. Not even, I mean, not just artists in town, but other artists from out of town as well. You know, I would see them post stuff, and I would simply repost it. And I would just, you know, it's not a hard thing to do. You just repost it and check out this tight new song. You know, like, I'm a fan of these guys. You guys should check it out. You know, really
Yeah.
simple. You know, and so artists would see that, and they would just be like, you know, we got on a local level, like, people were like, yo, man, I see you sharing my stuff. I see you liking my stuff all the time. Like, I really appreciate that. And it was like, it's not even that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a click. But, you know, it does mean a lot to some people when you do things like that. And it might not reach anybody, you know what I mean? But it's the gesture, you know? And plus with like Facebook, you know how it is, man. Like, when you share something, nobody sees that, especially if it's a music page. But the point is, you tried, right? You tried to spread that word, and you know, people really appreciate that. Whoa, what the?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, that's our kind of our way of like networking with people. And the reason why I say it's a thin line to tread is because the things that we shared, it was stuff that we liked. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just like a blind share. Like, it wasn't like, hey, you're from Boise, I'm from Boise, let me share it. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be tight. It had to be kind of tight. And that's how, I think that's one thing where musicians kind of fail sometimes, is the mentality is, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. And
Yeah.
I get that mentality, but like, sometimes, like, you know, you shouldn't expect that also. Like, if I share your stuff, I shouldn't expect you to share my stuff. You know, I just like your stuff, so I want to share it. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm sharing it. I'm not sharing it because I want you in return to share something of mine. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where a lot of musicians kind of misunderstand that, that whole thing.
Yeah, they think it's like a cross promo thing almost that people try to do on Instagram, where they're like, oh, like my post, I'll like yours, or, you know, whatever. But instead, it was just you guys just being organic.
And that's one thing that is like so lacking, probably in general in music, but like, I feel like especially in the hip hop world, is just like, there's so many just shallow connections. You know what I mean? And I'm not about that, you know? Anytime, like, seriously, like, anytime somebody comes to me and is like, hey bro, let's network, let's hustle, let's grind, you know, rise and grind, you know, it turns me off. I'm immediately like, I'm out, you know, I don't even, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, I wanted to ask you, because obviously, like you said, you guys have a lot of releases on here. I think you have like 12 releases up on
Jesus.
Bandcamp, because you've been doing this, like you said, for so long. I want to ask you about Bandcamp, because I don't see a lot of artists especially from Boise. I don't know if this applies in other small towns too, but they're not utilizing Bandcamp. What can you say about it? Like, what's your experience been with it?
I like Bandcamp. I think it's great. I think the biggest thing for me is that, when you get the income, you know what I mean? You
Mhm.
get a lot more of the money that you sell off of albums and stuff like that. I think that's a very important thing for artists. You know what I mean? It's just like it might just be like where I'm at with my age too, but like Spotify is nice and all that, and we're on Spotify, but like you can't make a living off Spotify. You probably can't make a living off Bandcamp either, but the potential's there, like a lot of the revenue that you make off of Bandcamp, I can't remember the percentage exactly, but yeah, I just feel like Bandcamp, and plus like Bandcamp, I'm sure you've seen they do that Bandcamp Friday thing, where like all the sales that you make on like a specific Friday or whatever goes straight to you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that's that might not be that big of a deal, but when you think about it in the big picture,
No, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
artists just don't get paid. It's
yeah.
you know what they say, man, don't quit your day job, man. That's a very true fact.
Yeah. What are the? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, but like, what are the splits for the artists that don't know? What are the like splits? What do they look like between Bandcamp versus like Spotify or whatever?
I wish I could tell you, man. I can't remember. It's been a minute. Matt's the brains of this operation. I'm just the looks of this operation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I can't tell you, but I know it's better. I know Bandcamp's better.
Yeah.
But on Bandcamp, you can actually someone can buy an album or buy a single, right? It's not just streaming. So I think having that kind of thing is cool because fans can support you by streaming or sharing. But some people, like if you give people the opportunity, some people I think your music has affected people's lives to where they want to give back, and something like Bandcamp, I think, is just a cool way to give them that opportunity, because streaming the music doesn't feel like it's really supporting the artist, so
Right.
something like this I think is really cool.
Yeah, and I'm when I purchase albums, I mean it's through Bandcamp. I know you could purchase albums on like Apple Music, but I don't even do that. I always go to Bandcamp if I can, or I'll buy like a physical version or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bandcamp is tight, and I've seen I think there's so many more possibilities. Like you could sell merch. We don't sell merch on there, but you could sell merch.
Yeah. You can link merch to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and my friend Mega Ran, I think he has like some kind of it's like a subscription service on Bandcamp. So you pay some kind of premium and you get like exclusive stuff, that's not available for like a normal buyer,
Yeah. And then also, this is super cool too on Bandcamp. I don't think a lot of artists know about this. You see, like right here, it says buy a digital album $7, but it says or more. So like if you wanted to, like you can set the base level, but like if you want to support the artist more or whatever, you can give them more money. Like,
yeah,
which is a pretty cool like incentive thing to be like, you're not forced to pay $15 or whatever for this whole album. It's up to you. Like what is it worth to you?
Yeah,
But
exactly. And for me, it's like I know I always talk about how like it's income is important, and I want to make money, but to be frank, like at the end of the day, man, like as a musician, at least at a lower level musician, like you're not making money off of this. You know what I mean? You're probably losing money more than anything. And so for me, the way I look at it is like, and money's hard to come by, bro. Like look at this last year with how many people lost their jobs and all that stuff, man.
yeah.
And so I always look at it as like, look, man, if you like the music, and you want to download the album for free, it's cool. You know what I mean? If you like the music, that's all that matters to me. If you want to pay for it, man, that's cool too. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not asking you for your money. Like I hope you like the music. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at it. But I would love to make money too. But
Yeah.
that, I look at money like I make that from. I more look at doing shows for making money and merch. But hopefully we'll get that back up on its feet. I mean, obviously it's been kind of hard since we can't do shows.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and you, from what I understand, when we talked at where was it? Somewhere downtown. And you were talking about like doing streaming and stuff. Like, I it kind of felt like that was you kind of trying to like substitute or whatever, or just like find something else since like the shows were gone or whatever, and you just kind of turned to obviously something that you just enjoy doing was just ramping up the streaming.
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny because we actually thought about the streaming thing like years ago. Like I think it was 2014 or 2015, where we were like, dude, what if we did like exclusive streamed shows, you know? And so we got the equipment for it and all that stuff, and we tried it out. We did like one stream show, maybe we did two, I can't remember, but they went well. They were great. But then you think about like, okay, but if you perform every night, then it becomes kind of, it's not as special, you know?
Yeah.
So then it was like, well, what if we just played video games? What if we just did streaming as like a side thing, and then we'll do shows like once a month or twice, or once every 2 months or something like that, just to like make it different. But when we first started, like we weren't as serious about it, like we would stream every once in a while. I would stream every once in a while. But like, with the whole pandemic happening, like I had nothing to do. So I just streamed every day. I started playing video games heavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool side thing now though. Like, I definitely feel like it's important to continue to engage with your audience somehow, and with music, it's tough because you can't just perform every weekend now. I don't think you should perform every weekend anyway, but like, some people did that. But now the cool thing for us is we perform every once in a while, but we could still engage with our audience via my Twitch stream, like, sure, I'm not doing music on the stream, but like, you can come through and you can come chat with me and chill, you know what I mean? And I think that's important for some people, when they see an artist that they admire or whatever, and then they're like, oh, they do this other thing too. Let me go and join them on that. Like I think it kind of adds this cool new layer to it, and I think, I feel like nowadays more than ever, like people yearn, especially with what we just all went through. Like, I feel like people are really yearning for that connection,
Yeah, for sure. I came across this on your Twitch actually, and I have to ask about this. You put up your your like Christmas wish list from Amazon on there. Why is Fred Claus in your wish list?
Come on, man. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Bro, that movie's tight, man.
Oh, all right.
Oh, man, that movie makes me laugh, dude. My cheeks hurt from when I watched that movie. My cheeks hurt because I'm laughing so much.
Oh, all right. I was like, wow, that's so random. Like, it's like, yeah, I gotta ask him about this.
So as you can see, there's a lot of movies on my wish list. I'm a big fan of movies.
Yeah.
I have a good amount of movies, but there's some of the switch, right? The jump from DVD to Blu-ray. And so like I had a lot of DVDs, but they're like, now I want all those in Blu-ray form. And so I've been trying to rebuild my collection in Blu-ray form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love movies, and especially bad movies like Fred Claus.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask about another super important thing in terms of, I think, the music artistry stuff before we kind of dive into the more heavily into the Twitch stuff, because I know you've got a lot of probably tips for that. But another thing is Tree Fort. You guys, it seems like I'm pretty sure you've been doing Tree Fort probably since its inception, right? Like from the beginning.
I don't know how, bro. I don't know how. I figured we'd be kicked out by now.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you though, like, so it's obviously super important to Boise. Like when it was canceled, that was a really big deal, and they tried to like delay it and then like push it out, and then like now they're like it's for sure happening this time. Whether or not that's smart, who knows? But probably not. But they're like, you guys have been in it. You're gonna do it again, I'm assuming, and like, how important is that, do you think, for local artists to try to get onto Tree Fort? How important has it been to you guys?
It's been super important to us. One thing that I don't realize though, that I'm beginning to realize more and more is how much older we are now. How long we've been doing this. We've been doing it for a really long while. I mean, we've been in every Tree Fort. That's a long time. And so I'm kind of to the point where I'm just like, I really appreciate it, and I love being a part of it. But like, I also feel a little guilty because it's like, there's probably a bunch of other hip hop musicians in town who are dying to get on that stage. And even though we're just one group, like we're still taking up a spot that could belong to another artist, another young, hungry, up and coming artist, So I don't know, man, that's a serious discussion that I actually was going to bring up with Matt, in the coming months here, if we should keep doing it. Like, I love doing it, don't get me wrong. I love doing it. It's always like a super fun time. But like, yeah, man, I know there's young people out there, and I wouldn't want a young person, a young musician to like be like, man, those dedicated servers, dude, like they're in every single one, man. It's just unfair.
Yeah, but you guys are still hungry too, right? I mean, and I'm assuming it's a great place to network too, even beyond just like performing and getting fans.
Yeah, no, we're super hungry. I mean, we still have that creative stuff, but like, like we've also found other ways, to like get our music out and be heard and whatnot. Whereas, when you're young, because I've been there, like when you're young, you're just like, oh my God, like, how do I do this? Where do I go? What do I do? When Tree Fort is the very clear answer. It's like, if you can get on Tree Fort, that's huge. It's an amazing opportunity to network. And that's really, honestly, like one of the biggest reasons we do Tree Fort every year is just to network, meet so many people. When you're chilling at the artist lounge, that's like reason number 2. Reason number 1 is free food for a week. So that's cool. You know me, man, I'm trying to eat, but yeah, it's a fantastic way to network with people. And yeah, like that's it, man. Like if you could get on Tree Fort, it's super cool because you're allowed to go to the artist lounge, and things like that. And you can access areas that other people can. You can talk to people, and yeah, it's really cool, man. We're super thankful to be a part of it. We'll be there in September, and I can't remember if they talked to us about the following spring as well, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll probably do it. The cool thing for me is I feel like I'm at a point where I could still be involved because I'm also a part of Hackfort. I've been involved with it before, but I'll be part of it this coming fall as well. So even if I didn't perform, I could do a DJ set. I also DJ, as you know.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of a different thing than like a performer role or whatever. Or I could do the Hackfort stuff. I could have a presence at Hackfort, which is kind of nice too.
Yeah. So, like I tried to get back when I was thinking that I was gonna rap, which was a mistake. I tried to get on to.
Don't say that, man. Don't say that.
No, it was, bro. Trust me, it was bad. So I tried to actually get onto Tree Fort, and I did not make it. Do you happen to know, like, was this just kind of another thing that you guys, as you say, are just like kind of blessed with, or like, do you like what are they looking for when you're trying to get in? Like, is there anything you can do to try to boost like stuff they like? If you have like maybe more music videos, or like if you send them more show footage, or like, do you know?
I honestly don't know the criteria, but I will say, having your stuff like up to date is probably really important because
Okay.
a lot of times like they'll get submissions from people and you look at the last thing they did and it was in like 2016 or something, and it's like,
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Like, so I think it's really important to have your most recent work up, have some kind of, you have to be active in some manner, right, on your socials, whether you like it or not, man. You just got to be, and for personally for us, it was just like, we know the guy Eric. Eric is the guy who kind of came up with the whole idea in the first place, and
Oh, okay.
you guys might know him too, Eric Gilbert. But like he, we're pretty tight with him, and like, there was one year like where I think we asked him about Tree Fort. Like I was like, yeah, what's all the pricing gonna cost? You know, how much are the tickets gonna cost and stuff like that. I just want to know so that I could set aside some cash and, you know, purchase a ticket. He was like, what are you talking about, man? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm trying to, you know, I want to attend. I'm gonna buy a ticket. And he's like, what are you gonna buy a ticket for, man? Aren't you gonna be part of it? And I was like, well, I didn't want to be that guy, you know, like
Just assume.
yeah, but like, yeah, if you so you want us to perform, sure, all right.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, and so, you know, again, like I just go back to how long we've been in the scene, you know, and like you know, for us it's like not just the hip hop scene too. Like I would go out to other genre shows, you know. I love live music. I'll see a show going on. I have no clue who the artist is, and I'll just go watch. And if I don't like it, then I'll leave. But a lot of times I do like it because it's something different from what I do, and I learn from it. You know what I mean? I see how they command a crowd. I see how they operate and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, how can I borrow that and make it part of my thing that I do? You know? And so I think that the community, they see that. They're like, yo, this guy like actually cares about the community. He actually loves music. And we want that kind of love, that kind of commitment and support to be part of what we do, you know? And so I feel like, I mean, for so many years, I feel like that's why we're so intertwined with Tree Fort, man. Like that spirit of community, you know what I mean? Like it's in us, you know what I mean? Like we love music, we love the community, and
yeah,
that's why we're here, man.
I've been to shows where, you know, I won't name names, but no, I've been to shows though where like, you know, somebody will go up, they'll do their set, and then they'll leave, and they're out, they're gone. Yeah. Like they don't even stay to watch like the main person or anything. Like, and
it's not a good look. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been a little weird to me. I've always at least had the idea of like if I stick it out to the end and like people know, even if I'm not feeling the music that much, like the people will still be like, oh, that guy stayed, like he's here, he stays, like, you know, and maybe I just kind of last in their mind or whatever. Especially if I introduce myself at the end. It sounds like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of something similar that you guys did.
Yeah, it's we always try to stay, man. We always try to stay. I mean, unless I gotta like work early the next morning or something, like, you know, I'll try to stay because it does mean a lot. You know what I mean? It's a small gesture. But you know, on the flip side of that, as you mentioned, right? Like when you get like these bigger musicians who do that, you know, like I kind of get it, man. Like they probably do that so much so that like it's just like, get me out of here, man. I just want to go kick my feet up, because I felt like that sometimes too. You know what I mean? I totally felt like that sometimes. But if you know, I always try to go that extra mile, man, because you know how much it means. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how much it means to the other performer, and so I always do my best. But like, I totally get it, man. Like,
oh, I'm not talking about bigger artists either. If that was unclear, I'm definitely talking about like other local artists were like doing their set and then would just bounce, like, and not watch the other local artists, like, and that was kind of like shocking to me. Where I'm like, get to know these people, like, like go talk to them.
You know, like, and it's one of those things too. It's like worst comes to worst, right? Like, okay, say you don't feel their music. You can sit there and talk smack about it and laugh with your friends.
I mean, yeah, just make it fun, like you're saying. But all right, so
but, I mean, but, like, yeah, it does mean a lot though, man, for you to be there for the other artists, man. Like it's again, man, it comes back to community, bro. It's a community thing, man.
Yeah. So okay, so an artist, say they got on, this is their first Tree Fort this year. They're super excited. As someone who's done it the past, what is it, probably 9 times or whatever it's been going, I can't remember.
I think 9,
yeah. What's your advice to them? What should they be doing? What should they be bringing, looking for, talking to? What's your game plan for a first year artist at Tree Fort?
I would say, like, your own show, you better make it the biggest one ever. You know what I mean? Whatever you got to do to make it special. You know what I mean? Because you got to think, right? This isn't just your typical local crowd coming to see you. This is people from all around, from who knows where. You know, they're coming to check you out, and this is going to be your elevator pitch. You know, so what are you going to do to capture them? And you have to think about the time, right? You got to think about the time that these strangers are going to watch you. They're going to watch you for like, what, 5-10 seconds and be like, this, either this really sucks or this is really great. So what's your, like, seriously, like every single element, what's it going to look like? What songs are you going to perform? What are you going to wear? That sounds kind of silly, but like, you know, how am I going to attract people? How am I going to get them to be my fan? You know, you can't, this is one show you don't want to phone in, you know, so you got to think about how you can make it the absolute best that you can for strangers. And then also like networking, you know, like don't be afraid to talk to people. And like, I think a mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to networking is they hype it up too much. Like, okay, I'm going to network with this person about music. Oh boy. Do I ask him what school they went to music for? You know, all this stuff, which is fine. You could do that. But I see that when people do that, it kind of stresses them out. And so I'm just like natural about it. Like, I'm just like, hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm Dave. Just here to check out music. You know, I like that jacket. Like, just a normal conversation, you know, don't make it so business. Don't hype it up, you know, like, because at the end of the day, we're all humans. You know what I mean? So just strike up conversation with people, you know. Who are you? Are you a musician? You know? Yeah. Oh, cool. When are you playing? Let me come check you out. You know, like stuff like that. Oh, you're a musician? Let me pull you up on the app. Let me hear a song real quick, you know? Yeah. Hey, you want to go get some fries at Boise Fries? You know, like there's so many ways to network, and I think that that's really important. But like, I think it's also important that you take the initiative. Don't wait for other people to come network with you. You know, you make, you know, I'm a very big proponent for you making things happen. You know, everything in your life, you know, it's all a result of you and the decisions you make and the actions you take. And so, yeah, you know, get out there and network, get out there and talk to people. You know what? Hey, man, I feel like running into a wall because I use the word network. I hate that word. Just go talk to people, you know, go get to know people. And in turn, that turns into networking. So.
It's just okay, yeah. It's just talking. Luke, weren't you gonna be at Treefort before it got canceled?
Yeah, and I think I still will be there this September. So just doing like a beat making intro to beat making type of thing with Boise beat makers, and just kind of like, yeah. The plan was just like, this is how easy it is. Like, you just need a laptop, basically. Anyone can start making music if they've got a smartphone even nowadays. So
yeah.
The tools are out there, you know.
Yeah.
The tools. It's easier than ever. It's so much easier than when I started, man. Like, boy.
Yeah, you just gotta be prepared to cry a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, lots of trial and error. That's cool, man. I'm gonna remind me about that. I want to try and make it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel what you're saying, because I've been that person in the crowd who listens to a talk or a show, and it's like, man, should I go up and talk to them? Like, I want to talk to them, but like overthinking it in my head, right? And just go up, say hi, say what's up, and start like be a normal person. I think that goes a long way. Be yourself.
Just be yourself. Yeah, ask. You know, like I think that's one of the biggest things too is like you never know till you ask, right? So just ask. Just, you know, what's on your mind? You know, just be human about it. And you know, if they're assholes, then forget them. But but you know, like, yeah, man, just take action. And believe me, like I want to clarify that I've never been like that. Like when I was younger, I was so nervous. Like it was always stuff going through my head. Oh God, what if they end up not liking me or whatever? But yeah, man, just, you know, just approach, just be cool.
Yeah. Which venue is the best, Dave?
Oh, I would say the main stage for sure. I've never performed the main stage. You know, I almost did.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Was when I did my emo album. I made a song called Moving to Virginia, and I released a music video for it and everything. And people actually thought I was planning to move to Virginia.
Okay.
But like the song.
What?
But like the song, I was like, okay, these people asking me, they clearly haven't listened to the song. Because in the song, I talk about, again, it's an album about heartbreak. And so I talk about wanting to move to Virginia because Virginia is for lovers. So maybe I'll go find love over there if I move to Virginia, you know? It's like a metaphorical moving to Virginia.
Mhm.
But people thought I was going to move to Virginia for real. Like my phone blew up with all these messages. Yo, one last drink, man, before you go. And like, and Eric hit me up from Treefort and he was like, hey man, so sad to hear you're leaving the community here, man. You want to do one last Treefort show on the main stage?
You should have just gone with it. Just be like, yeah.
I should have, I know. But I was laughing so hard when it was happening. I was like, oh my God, dude. People actually think I'm leaving. I should have taken him up on that offer.
Wow. Then afterwards, just be like, oh, it fell through. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm staying here.
Yeah. But, going back to your question about the best place to perform. For me personally, the best that I've performed in would probably be, I would say, honestly, I would say the Neurolux. The
Okay.
Neurolux has always been one of our favorite places to perform just because the vibe there is cool. You know, like people there are cool. And it gets a little packed in there though. Like when it's at capacity, it's like, if you're on that stage, you're stuck there, you know? You're not going to get out until people trickle out. But it's cool. It feels a little more intimate there. I really like that about that place. I was going to say the Knitting Factory at first, but like, there's too many rules. You know, there's too many rules at the Knitting Factory, man. Like,
Yeah.
and, they got the security out there. Let's just, nah, but we have performed there and that was cool, just because the stage is nice and stuff. But like, yeah, I just hate going there. Like, it's annoying. They're a little more uppity there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But that's fine. In recent years, we've kind of been, I don't want to say downgrade because I don't want to like diss Spacebar, like, because I love Spacebar. I love Spacebar. But like, they've always just kind of shoved us in there.
It's kind of a basement, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. But it's like, it's smaller to perform in and like,
Yeah.
it's a weird layout. Like there's a pillar here and people can't see from back. It's just like a little weird.
It's like an L.
Yeah. It's great for DJing. It's a fantastic venue to DJ. But like, as far as a full-on performance, it's a little,
Yeah.
And then I can't think of. I know we've performed at other places. Oh, the Linen Building. We performed at the Linen Building. That place is cool.
I think they sold that.
Shut up, they did?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, dude, rest in peace.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be anymore. But yeah, I think a couple years ago it sold. But anyways, you mentioned DJing. I know that you DJ a lot. That's actually how we met. Was we were working a wedding together.
Yeah.
Dave was the DJ. I was there with my wife as the coordinators. That was cool. But you mentioned even in the interview too, and when we were talking, of course, you do this touring dance competition thing. Like that's your job. You DJ for them. Like,
yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
This is my 5th year. So yeah, it's been 5 years, man. And it's such a bizarre thing, because the way I got that job is literally I had a resume sitting on Indeed after I graduated from BSU, and they found me and they're like, hey, we see you're a DJ and you have a degree in marketing. You want to come work for us? I was like, yeah, whatever, out of college, I need a job. So I went and worked for them and it was crazy, dude. Like, I can't even believe that this was a thing. Like, are you guys familiar at all with dance competitions?
No.
Have you ever seen a show called Dance Moms?
Yeah.
So it's basically that. It's a bunch of like, these parents, they sign up their kids to compete in a dance competition, but like, there's so much money. These parents and studio directors, they pay a lot of money for these kids to compete at this competition. But the way we set it up is we set it up like a show. I go on these events and I set up the backdrop and the lights and the music. And yeah, man, I just play music. typically they give us they would give us their music, and I would just hit play, and then they would, they have like choreography to these like 2-minute pieces. So I just play that all day, all these 2-minute different songs. I just play them, and then in between, I play music like to keep people, keep the vibe going or whatever like that.
Keep the parents motivated.
Yeah, because they gotta sit there all day.
Yeah.
They gotta sit there all day watching all these kids dance. A lot of them too are, they're just starting, and the ages, they range anywhere from 4 years old to 18. So you get the 4-year-olds up there, and they don't know what they're just up there like looking around, like they forgot the dances, and it's just like, God, get me out of here. Like the parents that, like, there's a lot of parents there who are trashed. I'm not even kidding, man. Like, they roll up with coffee cups, and that ain't coffee, like, because they got to get through the day.
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I travel for, man. It's basically tour life. And it's funny. It's really interesting how my experience with tour life is through not my medium. It's through this other thing that I do with DJing,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like with that, I meet, again, it's an amazing way for me to network with people. Like, these are all like, I'm always working with, because we have judges at each event, right? These are dance professionals.
Yeah.
So these are people who have worked with, you name it, J-Lo, Michael Jackson, all these different people, very talented, very knowledgeable, very experienced dancers. But the cool thing is, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. And so when they meet me and they're like, oh, you do music? Let me use one of your songs for my dance instructional video that I'm doing. And it's like, man, this is insane, dude. I can't believe this is happening,
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, so it's like, at the end of the day, it's all entertainment, and yeah, it's wild. It's just a wild thing.
Wouldn't even think about that. So how did you get into doing weddings then? Especially if you are like gone so much. Like you said, it's essentially like tour life. Like how do you swing both of those?
Yeah, so it kind of works out because so I've actually been doing weddings longer than I've had that dance competition job.
Okay.
I think I've been DJing weddings for 10 or 11 years now, but yeah, it started out as just a side hustle. Like me and Matt, like, we did dedicated servers, but it was like, man, we need money to print CDs, to print shirts, stuff like that. So we did them together. We did these weddings together. Matt grew to absolutely despise it. He hated weddings. And I did too, but I was like, dude, this is such easy money for something that it's not hard for me to do.
Yeah.
This is easy money. So I'm going to stick with it. And so thankfully, a lot of our projects and ideas and things like that have been funded by, me DJing weddings and stuff. But it works out because the dance competition, that season goes from January through like July. And typically weddings begin, summertime. So then I'll do weddings from June through October. So it kind of works out. I have to do a little bit of coordinating, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
They happen in 2 different seasons, so it's cool.
Yeah. So then you're working full time. It sounds like, obviously busy with both of these, and then plus you're doing music. I'm sure that a bunch of other people are doing that too, especially if you're in a small town artist, trying to make it work. Like, how do you balance all of those? The weddings, the DJing, also doing music. Like, what's your advice for trying to like not get burnt out on, one or the other?
Yeah, it's an ongoing challenge, man. Like, I still deal with it now, even after all these years. But my current workflow when it comes to music is that I find myself working while traveling, like once I get to the airport, like I'll sit down and pull up my phone, pull up some beats in my earpiece, and then, I'll just kind of write on the notepad on my phone or whatever. So while I'm on the plane, while I'm sitting in the Uber headed to my hotel, that's just how I have to do it. You know what I mean? Because my time is so minimal.
Yeah.
And like during the week, I work. And so, it's just an 8 to 5. And then I get off work and, got to make family time. I go see my mom. And then, as you know, I have the Twitch schedule, so I keep up with that. The weekends are where I really value my time. Like I usually try not to sleep in, as tempting as that sounds. Like, just get up, like, especially if you have minimal time, sometimes you think about the hours you have in a day and what you're going to do with those hours, and so then on the weekends, it's just like, all right, man, I'm going to be tired, but I'm going to make myself get up and I'm going to work on music for, 2 or 3 hours. And then, I'll work out for an hour, and then maybe I'll work on more music for like another hour, and then I'll stream on Twitch, and then I'll go say what's up to my mom. It's really time management, man. You just got to plan it out to where it works for you. And it's probably not healthy, but I'm just like, if it means you got to sacrifice sleep, if you got to wake up in the morning, you better do it.
Yeah.
Because when else are you going to do it? You know what I mean? Or like, for different people, it's different things, right? Maybe you got to sacrifice a night out on the town with your friends to work on music or something like that. You always got to sacrifice something, man.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. So in this interview that I'm pulling a lot of this stuff from, you said that I think this was in like 2018, this interview, and you were talking about how you started on Twitch. You had a Twitch then, I think it was called Hall of Fame Worldwide at the time, and then now you ended that, and now it's just the dedicated servers. But you said that you were only doing it like once or twice a week. You were streaming, and you mentioned in the interview that you were still affiliate though. So what made you? Was it just because of like the pandemic that you decided to just like really up your streaming schedule, or was it had you done it before and it just kind of coincided with that, or like what made you change from just doing it like once or twice? Because I mean, there was a time there when you had like, hundreds of days in a row of streaming.
Yeah, man. I found through personal experience that like the once or twice a week thing, it might work for some people, but for me, I noticed that I would get new viewers and followers and things like that, and they would just disappear. Like, they're gone. Like, and that's kind of how the Twitch grind goes. You know what I mean? You get these new followers, you get these new viewers, and then what are you going to do to keep them? In a way, Twitch is like a performance, when you go out and you do a show, how are you going to keep the people that show who had a good time? How are you going to keep them coming back? How are you going to keep them as a fan? That's pretty much how Twitch works. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's the way I look at it then. And, at the time, that's all I had to do anyway. I was laid off of my job, and it's like, well, I might as well just stream every day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's cool, man. I would almost rather stream now than to go out, I love video games anyway, and so it's just like, it's fun, and for me, I'm all about the connection, so it's fun to talk with people in the chat room and things like that, I mean, I try to keep it very loose, like, try not to make it like, you got some streamers who are like, bring me your problems, let's talk about it, like, I'm not like that, like, I'm just here to have fun.
No, yeah, I've been in it. It's a fun time, and you're over like 500 followers now, aren't you?
Yeah, just over. Yeah, just over 506 or something like that. But
still, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's probably chump change to a lot of people, but it's cool for me. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things I appreciate it because like, say one day some big streamer hosts my show or something, and suddenly I have like, 3,000 followers. I'm never going to be able to connect with people as much as I can now, because the chat room is going to be flying, so I'm not going to be able to respond to everybody. So I'm thankful for it, man. Like,
appreciate it right now for what you have. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like it's just fun. I just find it fun because it's like, I'm just playing video, whether I'm playing video, like DJing is cool because I'm just playing whatever I want. People can come in and go as they please. But like playing video games is so tight because like, I like to make people laugh, man. And I play it up on my stream. Like I'm always like, dude, I'm like the best video game player out there. You know what I mean? Like I'm so good. Yeah. And you've seen my streams, man. I'm not you know? But, like it makes people laugh, like it makes people chuckle because they're like, is this guy serious? Like, does he really think he's the best? Like,
You got
because he's
pretty good at
doubting.
Fall Guys. I'm not gonna lie.
I did, yeah, I did.
You got pretty
See,
good at Fall Guys.
some of it comes natural, but like, I was playing Resident Evil 8 last night, and somebody in the chat saw how horrible my aiming is, and they're like, this game's gonna be kind of rough on you, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not, dude. What are you talking about, man? Like, I'm doing that on purpose to make you laugh. But obviously, it's like I'm just terrible at it.
Yeah. One of the things that people talk about a lot, especially with like artists or producers or whatever, like one of the things people mention is they're always like, okay, if you're going to be trying to do music full time, like you have to have like 6 or 7 different like ways that you have revenue coming in. And I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that it like has to be like a music related kind of revenue. But like the more I look into like what people do, and like the more I kind of find out what other people are like into and stuff, it seems like that's not always the case. Like some people are, obviously this is when you have like more money and stuff and you're making more off of music and whatever, but you can start incorporating these other streams of revenue. Like I know that Illmind right now is doing like NFTs. He's gotten into NFTs. I'm sure people have like real estate, people have get into stocks as part of their revenue stream. Like it doesn't have to be music. Would you say like, was that kind of one of the incentives for you to start doing the Twitch streaming? Because you're like, this doesn't even have to be me streaming, like you were saying, our sets or DJing or whatever. Like I can just stream me playing video games, and if that's another way that money's coming in, like doing something I like, then why not? Like, was that kind of what your thought process? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I always think that it's important to it's like Wu-Tang says, diversify your bonds, it's important, man. It's true. Like, don't limit yourself to one field, Now, when I say that, also don't spread yourself thin either. You know what I mean? But yeah, like for me, for example, like obviously I DJ, I do wedding DJing and all this stuff. I do the dance competition stuff. I do Twitch, right? But all of those things, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. You know what I mean? And so it's really at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. I put on a different show on Twitch than I do on stage at Treefort. You know what I mean? But again, at the end of the day, my goal is to entertain you. And so you just have to be open to things. Like for me, it's one of those things. Like I'm like, well, being on stage, right? Like me and Matt, we would banter with each other and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's something we could do on stream, and like people would enjoy it and stuff like that. But yeah, like I think it's really important for young people. The younger, the better. If you can realize, like, just talking to people. Like for me, stocks, right? I didn't know anything about stocks, but I worked at Starbucks a long time ago when I was younger. And I worked with this old dude who knew about that stuff. And he was just like, Dave, you got to take money out of your paycheck every month, but I think it'd be wise for you as a young person to invest in some stocks and just let it sit. And at the time I was like, man, screw that, dude. I want all my money. I don't want to invest. What's investing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. But like, I'm so thankful that I had that talk with him because, I still have, I've had those shares for such a long time, and it's a pretty nice amount of money. And so it's like something extra that I had no clue about. I was just lucky that I talked to this old dude about it. You know what I mean? And so you just never know, man. You just got to be open. Don't look at music as being the end all be all, because if you do, you're going to be in for a rude awakening,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Always be willing, always be open to new ideas and things like that, and be willing to learn. You know what I mean? And even now, like with all the years of experience I've had or whatever, like I'm still just looking to learn, and I am, doing these dance competitions. Like who would have thought I would be talking to all these professional choreographers, right? And even though the experience is something way different, like I'm able to learn and borrow something from their experience and apply it to myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been trying to apply that, like especially on streaming, because like for so long I was just trying to stream music like every single time I went live, because I'm like, no one's gonna want to follow me if I'm not doing music, like, but and it's pretty rough like when I stream anything outside of music, but like it's cool too, because I've been noticing like there are a few more people coming in and stuff if I'm streaming like Final Fantasy or whatever. And that's just weird, because it was, for a long time there it was tough trying to stream anything else, and I was scared to do it. I was scared to like step out or whatever. But so when you started, there's like a couple of like rules that people kind of like try to make, or they say like the best advice or whatever when you start streaming, like the certain times, like have topics written down to talk about, try to stream games that are in like the second or third row as opposed to like jumping into the super densely populated first row. Like, was that stuff that you were kind of following? Like, did you follow that, or did you just like do whatever you wanted when you just jumped in?
A tiny bit. I used to, I still do actually, but like I'll think about new game releases and I'll try to stream, like, say on the day of release. But that's not always the best thing to do, because everybody else is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I used to look up time. Like, I think there's websites you could go to where it tells you like the best time to play this kind of game. You know what I mean? But once I started like doing all of that, I was just like, okay, I'm making this not fun. Like, video games to me is a very fun activity. And once I start mixing in numbers and times and strategies, then it becomes this business thing. And then I stopped it. I was just like, I'm gonna get on and play whatever I want. I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way I look at it, man. And of course, it's different for everybody. I mean, that might be the reason why I only have 500 followers. but yeah, I look at it as like, I'm gonna get online and I'm gonna have fun. You know what I mean? And and it's one of those, like, I'll take suggestions from people sometimes, like, hey, what should I play next or whatever. But I always kind of nail it down to what I want to do. And I forgot to mention, like, when it comes to all these things that you do in your life, with streaming as well, I always feel like it's fun is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Just like with music. Like, why do I still do music? It's because I have fun doing it. Why do I stream on Twitch? It's because it's fun. It's the most important thing with all the things that you do in your life, man. You got to have fun with it, and if you don't have fun with it, then you should stop doing it.
Yeah. So,
and like so when you were talking about it, right? Like when you first streamed,
yeah.
And there's all these thoughts going through your mind. I was there too, man. Like, it was like, oh my God, I'm talking to myself. I'm literally talking to myself. No one's here. But the way you got to think about it is like Twitch, right? Like, elevator pitch. It's basically a giant elevator pitch, because people are coming in and out of your stream the whole time, right? And again, they're going to give you like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. So how are you going to pull them in? You know what I mean? Like, how, are you just going to be sitting there, looking bored and nervous? Or are you going to sound like a complete nut and just be talking to yourself? Like, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it, man.
You gotta just be willing to look past your own insecurities, because you're sitting in kind of your own bubble almost, and like really getting inside your own head, because there's nobody else there with you. Like, you're streaming and it's lonely, weirdly enough, even though there's like people in the chat and stuff. Like, you get into your own head about it. But okay, so I do have a question. You are the dedicated server. You've got 2 other people in the group. You've got DJ Moog, right? And you said he's kind of shy. But what about Matt? Like, how come it's always just you on the stream?
So this is kind of a funny story. We used to plan it to where we would stream together, but it's just hard, man, because he's got a wife. He's got 2 daughters. Man, it's just hard, dude. Like, his schedule is just a little more taken up, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Than mine. The responsibilities are a little more pressing with him than they are with me. You know? It's a lot easier. I could just hop on stream whenever. Whereas for him, he's got to, like, all right, man, are my kids fed? Like, Is my wife feeling good? You know, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
What a loser.
right, exactly. God. But yeah, that's kind of why I switched it to well, I thought about switching it to just me, like my own name, Dave the Fave, but then I was like, nah, man, I want to try to promote us still, you know, on the stream. So but yeah, it just became a me thing. And so then our plan kind of became like, okay, how about we'll have, because Matt's time is taken up so much, what if when I leave for these touring shows, Matt streams, right? So when we did that, Matt streamed from his place, and he said people were in the chat like, where's Dave? Who are you?
Oh no.
And he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it, man. I think people, the content they come for is you and like your quirks and all that shit, right? Oh, excuse me, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, my bad. But yeah, he was like, it's your stream, man. You know, it's your animal, so why don't you take the wheel? And so,
Okay.
you know, so like obviously with the lot, like I would have him over and we would be in the same room and we'd be streaming together, but we haven't done that in a while. But we'll do that again, you know, sometime soon.
Yeah. So you mentioned the DJ streams too. How does that look? Because Twitch, I know for a hot minute there got real strict about music during streams and stuff, and there was a lot of like copyright strikes and takedowns, and they've tried to implement the Twitch, I can't even remember what it's called, where you can like play music through their little server thing. Like,
Yeah.
how did that affect your DJing? Do you still try to do it, or like what happened with that?
Yeah, man, it's been a while since I've done a DJ stream. I'll probably do one fairly soon, but it's you know, I talk to a lot of other DJ friends that I know. You know, it's a lot of brainstorming. Because I'll get on and I'll see them still just playing whatever they want. I'm like, now hold on, now how does this work? But they're not. I believe Twitch is not. They're not going to take you down live. Like I don't know if you've ever DJ'd on Facebook, but like they'll just take you down on the spot. You know,
Wow.
they don't do that on Twitch. And so my understanding is as long as you don't have that video archived, you'll be okay.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do my DJ stream, play whatever I want, and then when I'm finished with it, I'll just go in immediately and delete the video.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And then you're good, and you can just keep doing that, and like they won't give you like strikes on your channel or whatever.
I haven't gotten anything yet, so I've been good. It's been working for me.
Okay. Also, in that interview, you talked about like Tekken and Dragon Ball Fighters. I've come in the stream. I've watched you play Tekken. You're pretty good on Tekken. Like, I don't think I've ever seen you playing Dragon Ball Fighters, but you said you were training up because you were gonna try to get to Evo. Yeah. And that was back in 2018. Did you ever make it? Did you ever go to Evo?
I did. I went to Evo 2019. So I went there to compete in Tekken and this other game called Windjammers. And it was my first, surprisingly, it was my first time at a major video game competition. Yeah. And it was such an amazing experience. And because, you know, like you go there and, you know, the people there, those are your people, man. You know, like you could just turn to this person next to you and be like, all right, what fighting game are you here to play? You know, like it wasn't hard. It's not hard to strike up conversation. We're all there for the same thing, man. We're there for video games. Yeah. And so that was an amazing experience. I didn't do too badly in Tekken. I placed pretty well in that other game, Windjammers. But yeah, the fighting game community, like, I don't know if you know, but like that's something that I also kind of help out with here locally. Basically, it's a group of people who just play fighting games a lot. But it's not just people who play fighting games too. It's like people who just like fighting games because there's so many aspects to it. You know, some people like myself love the music in fighting games. You know, there's some good gym music in there, you know. Some people like the art. Some people like to play. Some people like to watch other people play. Some people like to commentate these events, you know. And so there's so many aspects to it. And so there's a community for that. And so I try to help cultivate that community and recruit people to join us. I mean, it's just it's video games. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. We just get together and play video games. And we're just now starting back up to have like meetings, in-person meetings to play and things like that.
Yeah.
But when I went to Evo, that was another eye-opener in 2019 because they had their finals, right? Like they had their top 8 and stuff. And it was at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And they had this in like the state, there's like a stadium in there, and it was on this giant stage with a giant screen with speakers pumping the music, and there was commentators.
That's so cool.
Broadcast to Twitch, and I look all around me, and the seats are filled with people, and I was like, this is where I need to go next. I don't know what I need to do, but I need to get here somehow, you know, like I want this to be my job.
Top 8. Oh, so you're going pro in Tekken.
I wasn't in top 8. I was just there to spectate.
No, but that's the goal then now.
No. I'm too old, bro.
Too old.
My goal is to get to you know, because I tour, right?
Yeah.
I tour for a living. I could do this kind of work for these types of events, you know.
Yeah.
I literally run a show every weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a show. I could do this. I could commentate, you know, like I could be on the mic. I know a decent amount about Tekken. I could get on and talk about Tekken and be a personality. You know, there's so many different avenues you could go within that small thing, you know? And so it was like really cool to see. And so, you know, I'm just trying to cultivate that scene here. Cause there's been a scene really, as long as you can think, like when I was a kid, I used to show up at Pojos and like play against people, you know, as a young kid. But like we never had anything like we do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like that's essentially what it is now. There's more opportunities for things like that. Like if a young Dave could have seen that, man, I would have taken it way more seriously as I was growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Luke, do you play any fighting games?
No, not really. I mean, I grew up playing like a little bit of Tekken and like some Soul Calibur and stuff like that, but nothing too seriously. It was just like split screen, or I guess not split screen, but just with my buddy controller type thing.
Couch co-op.
Well, Luke, if you ever want to play, man, I mean, you know, we're always, even if we're not meeting in person, we're playing online. We have a Discord server where we all actually get together on voice chat on Sunday nights, and we just play different fighting games together. Mainly we just get together and just talk.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's at a point where there's a community for it, and it's cool to hit somebody up and yo, I'm gonna go talk to this guy about Tekken. You know what I mean? Like it feels good, you know. And the misconception about that whole thing is a lot of people look at us and they're like, well, I've seen David play Tekken. I can't play, you know, there's no way. But there's people better than me in the community, you know? And so I always encourage people, like, I don't even play competitively. I play for fun, you know? And I'm there to help people link up. I'm there to help introduce people to each other and, you know, become friends and all that stuff. Because there's a lot of friendships I've made through this whole thing, you know? Even at Evo, I met so many different people from different cities, and like I stay in touch with them and we play fighting games and stuff. It's a really cool thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This looks pretty competitive, Dave. I don't know. Like what happened right here? Talk about this.
So this was during the tournament. Yeah, this was at BSU. It was just a small like top 4, excuse me, for Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. This is an old game, but it's got a very niche following. And yeah, man, this was exciting because I faked him out twice. 3 times. I think that was the third time I faked him out with the kick. It's kind of like a cancel of sorts, but that was a really hype moment because it's like a game of chess. You know what I mean? That's what's cool about fighting games. It's like a game of chess, you know, and it's just it's fun. There I am getting hyped, getting turned.
Yeah, he doesn't look too happy. But so how did you get into this? Because I see it's the Boise State Esports. I'm assuming you're not going to Boise State. Like how'd you get in this tournament?
So one of the guys who stumbled into our community, he goes by the name Presidente. He does stuff for them, for the esports. Like he helps organize things and stuff. And so he likes fighting games. And so he heard about us and he was like, hey, I can talk to these guys and maybe we could do something for you guys. And so it's one of those things, man. You know, that's the beautiful thing about life, dude. You don't know who you're gonna meet, you know. You don't know who they're gonna know, you know, and like stuff like that, man. That's really what it comes down to, man. Like connections and all that stuff, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said, I was going to ask you too, I saw you made a Discord. I don't know if that was recent or not, because I don't remember that being there when I was popping into your stream pretty regularly. But so you guys go in there on Sunday nights, and then you, I'm assuming, stream within the Discord and do the fighting games there?
Yeah. So it's not my actual Discord. It was a Discord that was created by some of the other guys that run it.
Okay.
But yeah, they've had it running for a while, and we have a ton of members in there. Half of them don't even check in, I don't think, but like there are a lot of members in there, and we get a good amount of people who hop in on Sunday nights. And yeah, it's really casual. We just Sunday evening, anywhere between 8 to 10, we'll just hop in the chat room and hey, what I'm playing Street Fighter 3 if anybody wants to play. Oh, you're actually playing Tekken? Okay, let me jump into Tekken and I'll play against you. And we just play online and we just chat with each other in the chat room, man. It's super casual. And yeah, it's chill. But I mean, we're probably going to do that in person starting soon because people are getting vaccinated and like, people are just, it's with video games, it's just different. It's much better when you do it in person. It's just different.
Yeah.
Like you can see the different games that are being played and it interests you more, and like connections aren't bad and things like that,
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Have you, I know you really like Tekken, you really like Street Fighter and stuff. Have you played the best fighting game of all time though, Guilty Gear?
Woo! I have played Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
It's a cool game. It's not for me though,
No?
Nah, man. It's not that I don't like anime, I swear. But like anime fighting games, I tend to like not really gravitate towards.
Okay.
I promise I'm not being an anime hater because I used to watch anime. I love anime, but like as far as fighting games go, yeah, I typically don't play those. I'm what you would call an old head, and I just play like Street Fighter and Tekken.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say I don't normally play, or I didn't used to normally play fighting games, but my friend within the past like couple months or whatever, he was just like, hey, Guilty Gear, I think it was Plus R or whatever, is on sale. It's like $4, like, because they're trying to do sales and stuff to build up hype for, because Strive's coming out soon, and and he's like, I'm gonna buy it for you and you got to play it with me. And I was like, oh man, I don't play fighting games, like, they're too hard, like. And he's like, no, he's like, you're gonna play with me. And so he got it for me, and it's been fun. Like, that's the first fighting game, because I've played, obviously, like, I've played the Mortal Kombats and Tekkens and Street Fighters and stuff, but for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm like, Guilty Gear, it's something different. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
It's buzzing, man. It's buzzing. There's a lot of people in the community here who are like really excited for it, and they're ready to grind it. But yeah, man, like that's what it's all about, man. You had fun, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people, maybe you as well, Luke, that they overlook that. Like they're just like, oh man, I have to play a fighting game, but I have to be competitive. Like it's when you think about other video games, like it's so weird how fighting games are like that. Like I never think about Mario, right? And like, oh man, I gotta be good at this. You know what I mean? And fighting games, at the end of the day, they're just video games too. Like just hop in, just have fun, see if you like it. And like I said, like people play for different reasons, right? Like some people are gravitated by the music, some people are gravitated by the art style. Some people feel like the game plays really tight, feels really good, and so you never know, man. Just try something out. I'm always a proponent for that, man. Just try it out, see if you like it, see if you have fun with it, and then go from there,
Yeah. What are your favorite genres, Dave?
I would say fighting games, of course. A big fan of platformers, and puzzle games.
Oh. Okay.
I think those are my top 3 favorite. I like JRPGs as well, but like I don't really have that much time to play them these days, but I like those.
I just I was realizing the other day that like how many JRPGs I missed out on, because I stopped playing my Game Boy Advance when I was younger because it got so annoying not being able to see the screen, and so whenever we drive somewhere, you're always like having to play like this, so like the sun was like shining on the screen.
Yeah, yeah,
Did either of you guys have Game Boys growing up? No?
absolutely.
Okay.
No, I did
I
not.
had I had the regular Game Boy, right, the fat one, um, and then I had the Game Boy Advance SP. Yeah, there it is. I
Yeah.
remember that. Oh man, the memories. I had the Game Boy Advance SP, which was oh, is that a Game Boy Color?
Yep.
Nice, nice. Those were tight.
Yep.
Yeah, the Advance SP, and then I think those. No, I had the Game Boy Advance first, which didn't have a light. But
Yeah.
then the Game Boy Advance SP was a square one, and I think that had a light.
It did, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got myself a Game Boy Micro when I got older, so that's a pretty cool little device.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
It's basically a Game Boy Advance, but really tiny.
Yeah, they're like they're really small.
Yeah, they're super super tiny. And then the 3DS, the Nintendo 3DS.
That's one I'm trying to still get. But no, so I missed out on so many JRPGs because I stopped playing my Game Boy Advance because I'm like, this is annoying. I can't see, like, and back then I don't think I even knew because, like, I just wasn't, I didn't have friends that were into that kind of stuff. So I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy or the Tales series or the
Oh, man.
Fantasy Star or anything like that. So, and those were all amazing games on the Game Boy Advance. So within the past probably couple months or whatever, I find out, I dig out my Game Boy Advance because it's like 20th anniversary or whatever, the Game Boy Advance. And people were talking about, they're like, oh, I've modded my Game Boy Advance. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And they're putting in like backlit screens on their Game Boy Advances and like putting in rechargeable batteries. Like it's like a C chart. Like you just plug into your Game Boy Advance. Like it's nuts. So it's stupid, but I ordered that for my Game Boy Advance and I sent it in to get modded out. And so I'm excited because I'm finally gonna be able to play these games that I missed out on.
Man, it's incredible, like the things people do with their devices, man. Like people are so smart,
Yeah.
Like I wish I knew that stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But man, you're getting it modded, right? I want to see that when you're done with it.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's on it should be here Friday. But yeah,
Ooh,
I'm really
nice.
excited. It's going to be awesome.
What's gonna be the first JRPG, Rob?
Well, I got a couple of games. I got Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls. I have the Fantasy Star Online. I got Tales of Fantasia, and then Final Fight 1. I picked all those up just to be like ready when this thing comes in.
Where'd you get those games? Did you get them at VIP or did you get them online?
VIP.
Nice. Those guys are cool.
Yeah, they're super awesome. Shout out VIP Games. They have a lot of stuff there, and they know what they're talking about. So, yeah. and they seem pretty fair too. But, anyways, I don't want to keep you forever, Dave. We've already kept you a long time. I could talk about video games all day. But Luke, you got
all night, baby.
Yeah, you got anything else you wanna ask before we start wrapping this up?
No, I don't. But I did want to say thanks, Dave, because I mean, you're talking about being able to learn, I think, kind of from anybody or looking at any situation as like a learning opportunity. I've definitely learned a lot from you, and just like some of the stuff you're talking about definitely kind of rings through with my experience and stuff like that. So I appreciate you coming on, and I'm looking forward to getting together in September, Tree Fort, definitely. So
yeah, let me know, man. Yeah, let's definitely stay in touch because I want to check you out, man. And yeah, if I could leave you with any parting words, man, like just people are amazing, and like everybody that you come into contact with, man, like you don't know what they've experienced or what they know, you know what I mean? And so I always try to like I just learn, I'm the type that learns from doing. Like when I see somebody in action, that's how I learn, and like just talking to people, getting to know people, man, you'd be amazed at the things that people know. And so, it's definitely a good attitude to have.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, yeah, Dave, thanks for coming through. Anything you want to push, promote, tell people about, whatever before you?
I mean, I'm on the stream pretty much every day unless I'm out of town. So twitch.tv/the_dedicated servers. other than that, I'll be at Treefort. So, for anybody going to Treefort, just look out for dedicated servers. I don't know. They haven't given us a venue yet, but we'll be rocking there. I mean, even if you see me on the streets, man, like just come say what's up, like it's it's amazing. I've talked to so many people who are like, oh yeah, I've seen you before, but I've always been nervous to come talk to you. And I'm like, why? Like, I'm just a dude. Like, come say what's up.
Yeah,
let's have it.
I did at the wedding, and it worked out great.
yeah, like it's so weird, man. Like the way, like, because people have seen me perform and they're like, oh, he's this big deal. I'm hella not, dude. Like, come on, man. Like, look at my streams, dude. Like, but yeah, come through, say what's up, and then, even if you're not going to see music, I'll be at Hackfort. So if you're interested in fighting games, like that's what I'm going to be doing at Hackfort. I'm going to be hosting a tournament, and I'm also going to have just fighting games set up there for people who would, if you want to play fighting games, come through. Come find me, and I'll introduce you to the crew. We'll play some fighting games, and we'll have a good time.
Awesome.
That'll be super cool. All right, well, Thank you so much, Dave. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for talking to us for 2 hours. Nothing but gems. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the show, man. Anytime. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get you back. But yeah, thanks everybody in the chat who rolled through.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate everybody, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Oh yes. GG's, everybody.
All right.
See ya.
See you, Dave. Nice. That went awesome.
Nice. That was awesome.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, that a lot of it was kind of what I thought it would be. He came in, he had a lot of I was just looking for those words of, kind of like what to look for from someone who's been doing it for so long, and like doing it just like he said, strictly out of a passion for doing it, like I think that's super important.
Yeah, one of the things that really stuck out to me kind of along that same line is I think his focus so much on enjoying what he's doing really like helped him. Everybody, I hear a lot of people, and I myself struggle with this, like finding your sound in music. And I think him just going with what he enjoys, he couldn't help but put references in his songs and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And he was even like holding himself back, but just like diving in, like leaning into whatever that is you enjoy. I think a lot of times that's where you find kind of your lane or your style and develop that. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, before we go, I did want to get back to this real quick. Luke, I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep you for very much longer, I promise. But we were talking about this interaction that happened in the group chat. Artist came in, was asking for beats, asked if anyone had them. I sent him my beat store link. I said, hey, these are my beats. These are what I have, different deals, whatever. And then said the thing about the type beats. I explained that type beats, they're there just, I don't go in like and just like listen to a beat and then be like, okay, and then go and like, remake it. And then I'm like, good, that's this type beat. Like, it's just, I sit there and I'm like, oh, cool, I made a beat. Who do I hear on this? I don't know. And then like half the time it probably doesn't even sound like that person would be on it, but whatever. But the most interesting part of it, and I think the thing that everybody should probably take from it, was how the other producer came into it. Again, like I said, we don't have to name names, that's fine. But this is a producer who has a lot of experience in this stuff. Like, I mean, this guy's in the mix. Like, he's working with big artists, people from TDE, people from so he knows how this stuff goes. Like, and he's been here, he's been in LA. And I thought it was super interesting how he immediately came in. And it was none of this, like, what are you looking for? Like, what, it was, what's your budget? Like, that struck me. And I was like, if he's doing it like that, that's probably how we should all be doing it. Like, I mean, I get that he has some of the clout, if you want to call it that or whatever, because he does have this, a lot of pedigree to what he's doing. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you feel that same way? Like it was kind of like a eye opening, like, oh, like this is how you approach it.
Yeah, that's kind of it's kind of a classic struggle with producers. And I've heard recently that, I don't know how true this is, but you make plus or minus 10% of how much you think you're worth. So like if you're always used to making $30,000 a year at a job, right? You'll probably make somewhere between like 25 and 35,000. But if you like truly believe I'm worth like $70,000 a year, I
Mm.
think you'll find a way to get that, and you'll start hanging out with people who are maybe making more and stuff like that. But as a producer, knowing like how to value your time and how to value your music is always a struggle, because you kind of start by giving away beats for free a lot of times, and then like, okay, now I'll try charging, and it's so hard to navigate that. And I think at some point, like, you can turn down 50 artists who are looking to pay 20 or 30 bucks for a beat, because if you work with one artist, then one artist with one song, it's maybe paying that same amount. And if you could have wasted time essentially working with people who maybe just aren't, um, I don't know if they're not at the level or not taking it as seriously, but they just don't have the budget. And at some point, having more budget allows you to do bigger things and work with more well-known producers or more established uh, filmmakers or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too was that what I think artists should take out of this is not that, like, you have to expect producers to just be coming in hot with the, what's the money situation, what do you got, but I do think it is important that they take from it, like, hey, this is what's going to be on the forefront of everybody's mind. Have a plan. Like, because the interaction from there kind of went south. He came in, he said, "What's your budget?" The artist responded and said, "Just depends," which isn't really an answer. And then he said, "I'm good then." Like, like I can't help you because you don't even have an idea. Like, and I just found that whole interaction so fascinating. I was just like, this seems like such a learning opportunity for both parties, like producers with how they need to be, especially from here, any small town like we talk about, need to be having this mindset of when they come in of like you're saying, I'm worth something. Like right now it may not be, even 30,000 a year, it could be 2,000 a year, but like I am worth something. What's your budget? Like, what am I worth? And then artists come in with a plan. I mean, that's part of showing that you're serious. And like, and this producer that was in there asking about the budget question, like, that's someone you want behind you. Like, he's a phenomenal producer. And if that artist could have worked something out, like budget wise or something, or even had like kind of a general figure and like somehow gotten a beat or whatever from this producer, that could have been pretty big for them. Like, so I don't know. To me, it's just it's a learning moment. Like you have that stuff ready and set, even if your budget's just like $100 or like whatever. Something could have come from it. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, you're totally right. I think going into it with the mindset of, I'm taking this seriously. I'm gonna put some money into this. I'm valuing the producer's time or whatever it is. Maybe the budget is $0. You literally can't get any money for that. But I think being upfront about that, and maybe changing your approach, then if you have $0, maybe don't just jump in and say like, who's got beats for me or something. Like, find a way to make it more mutually beneficial, I guess, for a producer to work with you, or whatever that might be. Because there are producers out there giving away free beats. And so maybe you just got to find the right one. But yeah,
there's a lot of not-for-profit beats that you can download if you don't have the money. And I know that that isn't going to make you any money because they're not for profit, but you know, that's just kind of where you're at the time. Like,
right.
And at least you still have the beat to rap over.
Right.
Maybe someone else hears it, whatever. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right. I don't want to keep you any longer, Luke. I appreciate you coming through, chatting with me and Dave. Who knows who we're going to have on next, man? I'm just having fun grabbing whoever and just having a blast talking to everybody. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it's been super cool. So yeah, at Beats by Kana, you want to follow me on anything? At Luke Blooded, you want to follow him on anything? And then if you're trying to get on the podcast, I do have an option. You can go into the Ko-fi, ko/fi.com/Beats by Kana, Kana Beats, and yeah, there's options. You can get on this podcast. You can ask live questions. Like, it'll be cool. But anyways,
awesome.
Appreciate everybody rolling through. Luke,
definitely.
I'll talk to you next time.
All right. See you, man. It's good talking.
Yeah. Later.